Hey guys, this is Donnie. I'm down at the bay today. It's near our house. I had to run into Panama City to go pay some bills, and the car is overheating if I stop and sit still for very long. It's so hot today. It was 94 this morning, 10 o'clock this morning, and we had went to the lease, Kim, Rosie, and myself, to put up a hog trap. And just got overheated, and then I had to run to town and take care of some bills. And so I decided to come here on the bay. I mean, it's a beautiful area. It feels so nice up under this bridge where I'm at right now. I'm getting a little bit of spray on me from the waves splashing over the little wall there, but it's nice. It's really nice. But I wanted to share something with you guys, and I was not going to share it, and the thinking behind that was because it sounds absolutely ridiculous. And on the way to town, I was listening. I actually listened to Scott Carpenter's video, one he just put out, I think yesterday. And he was talking about the portal and some creature that he's seen on one of his hikes. And we live in a strange time. A lot of us in the world, a very high percentage of us, are seeing some very bizarre things. And I don't know the reasoning behind it. Some of the stuff that I've seen, some of it's just fascinating. But there's the others, like the big guys, that they horrify me. I don't ever want to see another one. But the other stuff, just I'm more curious of the other things. And this morning, now you guys are going to think I'm a whack job, but I'm going to share it with you anyway. After listening to Scott, and Scott, you know, he doesn't care. He says the way it is. If he's seen something bizarre, he'll tell the world about it. And I respect him for that. And I thought about it, and I said, you know, to heck with it. I'm going to share it. We were building the trap, and it's made out of cattle panels. I've got 5 cattle panels. A cattle panel is made of these steel bars, and they build like a section of fence. And the bars used to construct it are about the diameter of a pencil or a little larger. And they have the panel 16 foot long by 50 inches high, a little over 4 feet tall, and it's got square holes in it, pretty large. The holes at the bottom, they're shaped like rectangles, and they're about 2.5 inches wide. The next row up above that is about 3.5 inches, and it just keeps getting wider as it goes up. Halfway up the panel to the top, I think they're around 6 inch by 6 or 8 by 8 inch. I'm not sure. They're pretty large holes. And they're stockade panels. But they're very heavy duty, and it's about the only thing that'll contain a wild hog, a big one. And these panels, they're heavy, 16 feet long, and I'm guessing around 40 pounds, 50 pounds a piece. So I had to have Kim's help, and I tied them all together, and then I formed a circle. And I'll show you guys when I go back out there in a couple of days. I'll take some footage and show you guys what the trap looks like. I brought my camera gear with me. It's been in the car. That's why I have it now. And I did not film this morning. It was so dad-blasted hot. It was horrible. I mean, just absolutely miserable. But we got the trap built, and the way it's set up, it's got 2 doors on it, You only need one. I use 2 doors, and I got a reasoning behind why I use 2. But I'll set the trap up like now, and then I leave the door open. I got one door that's open on it, and I got it staked off so it cannot close. And I put corn in the trap, and then around it, and a camera watching the trap. And then I'll check it in a few days and see if the wild pigs have gotten accustomed to it, or if they feel that it's a threat. This area is a very bizarre area, our lease, and I bush hogged and cleared a lot of trees. I mean, I really changed a couple of areas up dramatically. I mean, it's a big change. And I got finished late that afternoon. The following morning, I put cameras up on my way out. The following morning, the pigs already came through. It didn't affect them at all, which is unusual. So it's not going to surprise me if the pigs don't go in the trap tonight. I'm sure they will. They'll go into it, they'll eat the corn, then they'll leave, because I have the gate tied open. And I want them to get in there and eat the corn. I want them to feel safe around it. And then when they're coming to it regularly and they trust it, then I'll set the trigger on it. And when they go in there, they're not getting out. They're trapped. But anyhow, I'm getting off track. These panels that we use on it, in order to build the trap and make it sturdy, I use 6-foot T-posts, and I drive them in the ground to where they're a few inches below the top of the cattle panel. And so they're in the ground pretty deep. And then I take baling wire and I double it up, and I cut between 8 to 9 inch lengths of it. And then I bind the cattle panel to the fence post, the T-post, using the wire. And you gotta really secure them, because them pigs are incredibly strong. Well, I was on a post, and this trap is surrounded by woods. It's forest there and swamp. I was on my knees, and I made 2 twists with the wire. I tied 2 sections, and I'm tying the post from the bottom up, working my way up. And I'm excuse me. On my knees, I'm eye level with the next tie that I'm making. And I seen movement on the opposite side of the trap, straight across from me. And what I thought was a bird that shot across the little opening there. There's a little short opening, about 3 foot, and a lot of heavy timber and vegetation right there. But I seen something dart across it really fast. And I looked, I didn't see anything. I continued making my tie, and I have 2 ties left, the top 2, and I seen movement again out the side of my eye. Well, I looked across the trap. The other side of the trap is probably around 18 to 19 feet, about 6 foot past it, at the edge of the woods, right there in the woods there, right in the edge of it. There's a stump, probably 1.5 foot tall. And I seen something move over there by the stump. And I got to looking, and I seen something, I don't know what it was. I couldn't make it out, but I seen this green thing, and I see a bullfrog staring at me. I could see them big eyes. I mean, he was a big one. And I watched him for a minute, and he didn't move. He stayed right there. And I watched him probably for a minute straight, which is a long time if you're staring at something. Well, I went ahead and I moved to the next post. I finished tying that one, and I start tying that post, and I glanced over there, and it was gone. I didn't see it. And it did not look right. It was near the stump, probably that far from the stump, just to the side of it, but behind it. And it looked like a bullfrog, the head of it, he was looking at me, and I seen the two arms, very, very skinny, bony arms, and down to what would be just below his crotch. It was like a bullfrog human figure. It looked like a body, like a human's body. Two arms, two legs, a head, and a torso. I couldn't see the legs entirely, just below the crotch. And he didn't have skin or hair. It looked like he was covered in bark, a very thick, very coarse bark, but he was green, 2 or 3 different shades of green. Well, when I moved to the next post, I looked over there and I couldn't see it. And I was making my ties coming from the bottom up, and I kept looking over there, and I thought, well, shoot, that looked like a bullfrog, about the size of a Barbie doll was the actual height of it. You know, probably 12 inches, 10 or 12 inches. So I finished tying the post I was on. I made the rest of the ties, and I scooted back over because the posts are 48 inches apart. They're 4 feet. So I basically crawled on my knees to the post up when I seen him. And I looked, and there was nothing there. There was nothing to be seen. Well, that kind of, it puzzled me a little bit. It didn't scare me at all, but it just kind of puzzled me. I wasn't sure what I saw. Well, I finished tying the rest of the posts, no issues. After I'd seen it the first time, I had 18 or 19 posts that I had to finish tying. I already tied 6 or 7 of them. Well, Kim and Rosie started hauling our tools and stuff back to the car, and I was finishing up on the second gate. And they got the stuff loaded. Kim come back, and we had some heavy things to go back. I had a few of the T-posts that were left over, so I carried them. We got the rest of the stuff to the car, and I grabbed a bag of corn, and Kim got the other trail camera, and we went back in there. And where I was sitting at when I seen this bullfrog thing, as soon as you come off the trail into that area, I was right there, right at basically the end of that trail that I made. And the opposite side of the pen, which is around 18 or 19 feet across, it was 6 foot behind that, 5 or 6 foot is where I saw that thing. Well, from the trail, the end of the trail right there, if you look to the right of the trap, there's one pine tree, not very big, probably 10 or 12 inches diameter. And so I told Kim I'm going to put the camera on that tree because it'll give me a full view of the trap, and I can see what's going on. Well, I spread the corn out where I wanted it, and I put the strap on the tree, the camera. Well, then I walked back over to where the trap was to look to make sure I had it angled right, because it looked like I had it on the money. And when I got to the pig trap, I could tell that the camera only was picking up part of the trap. I had it angled too hard. And so I walked back over to it, and I adjusted it, and I got it right where it needed to be. Well, I pulled that one's got a really long strap on it because they use it in the swamps where the cypress are 3 foot at the base. They're really big trees, and so it's got a 5 or 6 foot long strap on that camera. Well, after I tightened it, I've got 4 feet of strap hanging down, and I didn't want the wind to blow it in front of the motion sensor on the camera and then get a false trigger. And so I got on my knees where the camera's right here, eye level with me, and I was trying to fish the strap behind the strap that's bound around the tree to where I could secure it and it wouldn't blow around. And I seen movement as I was looking at the tree. Just past the tree to the right is where that stump is, where I saw that thing. Well, I seen something move, and I looked straight at it, and I seen it this time. The first time it shot by, I seen it out my peripheral, and I thought it was a bird, a low-flying bird. Well, this time when it started moving, I looked directly at it, and I don't know what it was. I don't have a clue, unless it was some type of deformity, natural, I don't know. But it was about the height of a child's Barbie doll. It had a head or a face like a bullfrog. It had the protruding mouth, the big lip, all the way. I mean, it was a bullfrog face, bullfrog eyes, the works. The body looked like a human's body, but it was really skinny, really long, gangly arms and legs. The legs were way too long for the body. The body was about half the length that the legs were. They were really long. And his head, he had shoulders, he had 2 arms, 2 legs, and it looked like his neck, he had a neck. It wasn't like a frog that doesn't have a neck. They're a body with a head. This thing had a body, a neck, and a head. But his head wasn't on top of his shoulders like what ours sits. It's almost as though his neck went forward and then his head was there. And he had a head, it wasn't a round head, but it was, if you remember that old, back in, I think it was the late 80s, early 90s, they had that television show on the aliens, and they got the big cone head. The head looked like that. It was like a cone head, but on a much smaller scale. It didn't have a real tall cone at the top. It was short. It was rather small, probably the size of a human head, but it was like the top half of the head was really constricted, and it went to a little rounded off point, a cone. And his face jutted way out forward. But what made it more strange was his head wasn't centered on his neck to where half the head was hanging over his back and his face was hanging over his chest. The back part of his head was about center of his body. His head is almost like his neck went forward and his head sat way out in front of him. It was the strangest thing. But he ran across that little opening about 3 foot or so, and he got into the thick stuff, which was closer to me. He was running, kind of angling toward me, but past me at the same time. And the way he was moving, his head wasn't bouncing at all. It was like his head was fixed, or his body was fixed, and his legs were like grabbing the ground and just pulling him. He wasn't hopping like a human does. It was like he was being pulled across the ground. But when he got into the dry stuff that was right there behind me, and it come off to my side, off to my right side, I could hear him moving through it. There was no mistake. There was absolutely something moving in there. And when he got in there, you could hear the leaves, but for his size, it should have been as loud as a squirrel, and it wasn't. It sounded like one of your yard lizards, the little small green chameleon lizards that blow that little bubble out of their neck. It sounded like something that small moving through them leaves. It was real, for his size, it was really quiet, but I could definitely hear it. And I turned to Kim, she was over there, and I said, did you see that thing? And she had her earbuds in listening to music. She didn't hear nothing I said. I didn't say nothing to her. Rosie was behind Kim, and Rosie said, what is it, Dad? And I said, oh, nothing. I was looking for the tools. And I just kind of blew it off. I didn't want to scare her. She's witnessed the screaming from the big guys. She's heard the trees getting broke down. She's heard the banging on she's heard all of it, all the stuff what the big guys do, and she's pretty scared of them. I don't know if she's as scared of them as I am, but she's pretty scared of them, and I didn't want to frighten her. Trying to explain it, I can't. I don't know how to explain it properly, but there was no sense of fear. I wasn't afraid at all. I was more curious. If he would have been in the open and wouldn't have been as fast as he was, I would have tried to catch him. I would have absolutely tried to catch him. He was probably that high. He wasn't big at all. But I don't know. I mean, I don't even know what to say about it. It reminded me of them kids shows like Wizard of Oz or the, I don't remember the name of the show, but it's a cartoon, an animated show, and it's got the clocks talk and the keys fly and they talk and all the furniture talks and everything is animated. It reminded me of a show like that, but this wasn't a cartoon, this was a real creature. And it looked like he was covered in bark, very, very rough, jagged bark all over him. It wasn't hair, but he looked very nimble, very long and skinny. I mean, extremely skinny arms and legs on him. And I couldn't tell if he had hands or not. The way he ran, he wasn't swinging his arms like we would, or the big guys, the way they move. It wasn't like that. It's almost like he was falling and trying to grab something. He ran and he had his arms out in front of him like that. And he just ran across that opening into that thick stuff. But when he got into the thick stuff, it's all brown. There's no foliage down there because it's all big trees. All the foliage is overhead. But it's all leaves and pine straw and deadfall. It's just garbage. It's all brown and gray. And he was 2 or 3 different shades of green, but bright. He was really a bright green color. His eyes had a gold look, just like a toad frog. But he just looked like a bullfrog to me in the face, but he had the eyes like a toad. It had that pretty gold look to him, and the pupil, the vertical pupil. But I don't know. I don't know what it was. But tonight, if I'm not too tired, time I get home and get finished up, I'm gonna try to find some pictures on the internet. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna try to find a picture of a bullfrog, a real picture, a photograph of a bullfrog, and try to see if I can find pictures of like a gremlin or a goblin or one of them little monsters that you see in a lot of the Irish videos or movies. I don't know. I'm gonna try to find some stuff on the internet that I can kind of cut and crop and kind of paste it together and see if I can't come up with something close to what I've seen. And if I can, I'll either make a video and put it in the video, or I'll post it under the community tab. It's just bizarre. I've never even heard of anything like that. I've heard of what they call the little people, but from what I understand with them, they're like 3 or 4 foot tall. They're a little small, like miniature Sasquatch. But this was nothing like that. This looked like a reptile, like a Barbie doll sized reptile with a humanoid type body. It was just bizarre. I don't know. All the way in town, I just thinking about it, playing that over and over again in my mind. The way he moved was, it wasn't really creepy. It was just, I don't know. It was just weird. Really, really weird. But he's right by the trap. Whatever it was, I've seen him twice, and he's right there, 6 foot from where the side of that trap is, and maybe I'll get him on the game camera. I got the camera put up, and if I get that caught on camera, you can bet your socks I'm gonna have it on YouTube. But I don't know that it's a bad creature. I didn't feel anything. There was no bad feelings, none whatsoever. I wasn't afraid at all, no fear, no nothing. It was just, I seen it and my mind kind of went into neutral for a minute. I just couldn't understand what I was seeing. And I got to watch it long enough that it wasn't something that I seen a glimpse of, and then my brain is building off of that. I got a good look at him. I was staring straight at him as he cleared that little 3-foot gap, and then when he got about 3 or 4 feet into the leaves and the pine straw, it's almost as though he either, I don't know, maybe he turned the same color like a lizard does, where they can change colors depending on what their background environment is. But I should have seen him, because the stuff is thick in there, but he was taller than the leaves and all the debris on the ground. He was much taller than that. And I should have seen him, as he was such a bright green, a brilliant green. Until he got a few feet into that pine straw and them leaves, I could hear him. And he was scooting, going, he went behind me. And I kept following the sound, but I never could see him. And then he got to where it's real thick and you can't see into it at all, and he went in there. But I don't know if he stopped or if he kept going. The sound kind of faded out a little bit, but it seemed like I could still hear him moving 30, 40 feet from me. But when he crossed that opening, he wasn't maybe 12 to 15 feet from me. He was really close. And as he come behind me running through that stuff, he couldn't have been 10 foot, maybe. I mean, he was right there and I couldn't see him. I could hear him, but I could not see him. And I don't know, maybe he went invisible. I don't know. The things that people are seeing in today's world, it would not surprise me one bit if he completely vanished or went invisible somehow. I don't know. I'm kind of lost. I'm glad I got to see something like that, and I would absolutely take a camera out and go search for stuff like that. I would absolutely go and search for to try to get it on camera. I'm not going to search for the big guys. I'm not going to search for the werewolf things, but he wasn't that big. You know, I don't think there's anything he could hurt. Maybe pee on me if he's frog, but I don't know. It just, you know, take it or leave it. I just sharing with you what I saw, and I don't know if you guys have seen anything like that yourselves. If you don't mind, send me an email and share with me what you've seen. If you don't want me to share it on the channel, I won't. I'll absolutely keep it to myself. But I am extremely curious if anyone else has ever seen anything like that. I'm kind of mind blown by it. I'm happy. I'm glad I got to see it. I just don't know what it is. What do y'all think about my new fuzz cut? I cut my hair. I don't know if I'm going to be in frame, but I cut it off. I got to shave some. Well, guys, I'm going to pack up and get out of here. Oh, ain't leaving my bucket. But thank y'all for stopping by to listen to me share. It's not a fairy tale, but it seemed like a creature from a fairy tale. I don't know what it is. But if y'all have seen something like that, get up with me and let me know, please. I'd love to hear it. Y'all have a wonderful day. God bless you. I love you guys. And I will absolutely be seeing you soon. I will be going live very soon, today or tomorrow. I'm trying to get that done. I had an opportunity to do it day before yesterday during the daytime, but I know a lot of you guys and gals work, and the ones that do work are the ones that like to, the ones I've talked to like to be on the show live. They don't care for watching the playback, and that's what's kind of kept me from doing a live show during the day. But I may end up doing that anyway, just so I can reach out and talk to you guys. But y'all have a good day. God bless you. Until next time, always be safe.